To celebrate the 40th anniversary of the Super Mario franchise, I'm doing a retrospective video on every main series Mario game. Last time we took a look at the original Super Mario Bros. On the NES, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at both versions of Super Mario Bros. 2, the Japanese version and the USA version. I'm a Mario Man 847 and this is my double retrospective / review of Super Mario Bros. 2. I'm sure if you're watching this video then you already know why there are two different versions of Super Mario Bros. 2, but I'll give you the quick rundown anyways, just in case there are some people watching this video who aren't aware. So the original version of Super Mario Bros. 2 was released in Japan in 1986. It uses a slightly altered version of Super Mario Bros. Engine with some new features, altered graphics, and new enemy behavior in different, significantly more challenging levels. Nintendo of America originally deemed this game too difficult and too much like the original to sell well in Western countries, so in order to prevent the early series from being associated with frustration and staleness, Nintendo adapted the game Yume Kojo Doki Doki Panic and released it as Super Mario Bros. 2 in the US in the year 1988. The Japanese version of Super Mario Bros. 2 was later released in the West as Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, and conversely, the USA version of Super Mario Bros. 2 was released in Japan as literally Super Mario USA. That's basically all there is to it. Let's get into the actual video now. First, we're going to be taking a look at the original version of SMB 2, the one released in Japan. For convenience's sake, I'm just going to refer to this game as Lost Levels for the rest of this video. And boy oh boy do I have a lot to say about this game. This is such a unique and interesting game in Mario history because it's essentially a challenging ROM hack of the original Super Mario Bros. You see, Takashi Tezuka, the director of the game, felt that Japanese players mastered the original Super Mario Bros. So the intention of the sequel was to make it challenging, much more challenging, so much so that they had to label the packaging for super players. They even added a trick in the game to earn infinite lives as preparation for the difficulty. That's really insane that they believed the game was so difficult that they put an intentional glitch / exploit to help make the game a bit easier. This is something that Nintendo would never do these days. As far as my personal history with the game, it's a similar story to my history with the original Super Mario Bros. I played Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels on Wii Virtual Console and immediately hated it because it had everything I disliked about the original Super Mario Bros. But was also super challenging in an annoying way. I'm pretty sure I never even made it past the first few worlds back when I first played it. I did not want to have anything to do with this game, honestly. And unlike the original Super Mario Bros., I never actually grew to like this game over the years. In fact, I've always kind of viewed this game as the worst main series Mario game. After all, it's just a copy-paste harder version of SMB1 with a bunch of dumb gimmicks that troll the player. It's such a weird piece of Mario history that I always thought was just better left in the past. In that sense, I'm actually kind of excited to come back to the Lost Levels for this video. After all, this is definitely my least played main series Mario game overall. I honestly don't even remember if I've ever actually done a full playthrough of this game, so I'm going in pretty blind here. Now, I'm just going to get this out of the way now. I'm not going to review every level like I did in my Super Mario Bros. Retrospective, because honestly doing that was pretty tedious and I don't think it makes for a very entertaining video anyways. Like, I don't want all of my Mario game retrospectives to just be doing little reviews of every level of all of these games. Instead, this time around, I'm going to be doing a general overview of the game. I'm still going to be talking about the level design a lot, but I'm going to just go through the game and highlight specific levels that stand out to me. I think that makes a lot more sense. Alright, let's get into this and see if this game is really as challenging as Nintendo thought it was. The first level of Lost Levels already nails home what type of game this is. To get the first Super Mushroom, you have to bounce it out of this enclosed area in order to get it. The fact that they made something as simple as grabbing a Super Mushroom this cumbersome in the first level is honestly pretty hilarious. And everyone already knows about the iconic Poison Mushroom, the mushroom that damages Mario instead of powering him up. Yeah, from the get-go, Lost Levels is already turning the original Super Mario Bros. In on its head. And this game makes that clear from the very beginning. World 1-3 has freaking bloopers in midair, which is super wild. World 2-1 has these springs that sends Mario comically high into the sky. Like, check this out. Boing! Ah, dang it. Check out this janky setup in World 2-2. Get up there, Mario. Come on. Get on the block already. Ah. Oh hey, they brought back World 2, 3 from the OG Super Mario Bros. The Cheep Cheeps are back, but this time there's more of them. Oh, and there's a random blooper here for some reason. Man, this game is hilarious actually. I'm honestly having a really good time with this. Like, look at this diabolical fire bar setup in 2-4. Oh geez, they're already giving us Hammer Bros in World 3? Okay, look at this absolute nonsense in World 4-3. Do they really expect me to make this jump? I guess it's my fault for falling on the bottom path to begin with, but still. Oh hey, I got it. I made the jump. Just gotta make a few more jumps and no! Man, look at this absolutely monstrous fire bar at the beginning of World 4-4. It's so difficult to get this mushroom at the beginning. Dude, this is such an evil setup for this Bowser fight. This wind in World 5-1 comes out of absolutely nowhere and it's super funny. Oh gosh, what the heck is this jump? Here we go, and alright, we made it. Wait, whoa, what do you mean the level isn't over yet? What am I even supposed to do here? Oh geez, there are hidden blocks. Yeah, I'm running out of time. Whew, okay. We did it. Whew. Okay, so World 5-2 might have the most diabolical thing I have seen in this game so far. You hit this block and a mushroom comes out, but the mushroom looks vastly different underground. It's legit hard to tell if this is even a poison mushroom, but of course, it is a poison mushroom. It's stuff like this that makes this game super hilarious and trolly, especially for an official game made by Nintendo. Dude, why is this paratrooper underwater? It looks so weird. Oh boy, this is a scary jump. These piranha plants are coming out of the pipe so fast. Just gotta position myself correctly and yeah. Oh, I actually made it. Oh hey, it's another Cheep Cheep level. Dear goodness, why is there so many of them? Get me out of here. I couldn't see that platform, it was too high. World 6-4 is very brutal. It's a pick a path level, but it actually has challenging platforming in it. So you have to deal with the nonsense of guessing the right path and the danger of dying and having to start over again. 6-4 also has the most terrifying Bowser setup so far. Like geez, look at this. Dying at the end of this level hurts more than Mario Kart World being $90. Okay, that's not true. World 7 is where things get ultra intense. 7-1 brings back the wind mechanic, which can really screw you over since the enemy setups in this level are absolutely ridiculous. Dude, fire bars in midair with a Lakitu as well? Who made this game? Is that the flagpole? I'm going to assume that it is. Let's see if we can make this jump. And Geronimo! No, dang it, Mario. Why? Okay, World 7-3 is probably the funniest level in the game so far. You have to jump off of these ridiculous springs again that send you 100,000 feet in the air. The wind pushes you super far as well. The problem is you have no idea where the heck Mario is going to land since you literally can't see him when he's in the air. If that wasn't enough, the level ends with these annoying mid-air fire bars again that require precision platforming to jump across. Gah, dang it. God dang it. God dang it, why? Man, look at this fire bar setup in World 7-4. The fire bar just barely avoids the tip of Small Mario's head here. It honestly looks really funny. Here we are in World 8, and oh boy, it's a doozy. Is it even possible to get past this part without taking damage? Jeez. World 8-1 was legitimately driving me crazy. I think it legit took me an hour to actually beat it. Ugh, and that was just the first level of the world. Okay, I'm going to be brutally honest here. By the time I got to World 8-2, I was starting to get kind of sick of this game. Like, there's definitely a strange appeal to having this super challenging Mario game officially made by Nintendo, but at the same time, a lot of the challenge of this game gets really unfair. Like, take this level for instance. After you get past this annoying first part where you have to jump off of the spring, the game leads you to this warp pipe that just sends you back to the beginning of the level. When I realized this, I got legitimately frustrated. The real solution to this level is that you have to do this precise jump off of this paratrooper, revealing a vine that leads you to this cloud area. This is the real exit of the level. This is definitely the point where I was kind of just done with this game mentally. I was enjoying the challenge at first, but now the challenge is just getting unfair and frustrating to the point where it's not really fun anymore. I was also just getting kind of tired of looking at the SMB1 visual aesthetic in general, not gonna lie. I think Nintendo of America was onto something when they didn't release this game in North America originally. Regardless, I tried to keep pushing through and what the heck is this? No, seriously, what the heck is this? Is it actually impossible to progress here if you kill all the enemies at the start? Yeah, this just sucks. The challenge in this game was funny at first, but now with World 8, this just feels like bad game design. It turns out that you can make this jump after taking out the enemies here, but this is still a super weird setup regardless. Oh boy, look at this guys, isn't this fun? So much fun, right? Ha 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 ha. Okay, World 8-4, we finally made it to the last level. Just one more level of this treacherous game and I'm finally free. This level has an underwater section, but the background is completely black, which is pretty weird. Even when you get back on land, there are still bloopers hovering around. Man, this game is just odd. The game then makes you go down this absurdly long linear corridor for some reason. And then at the end of the corridor, you have to do this ridiculously precise jump off of a paratrooper to progress. At the end, you run into Bowser, but of course it isn't really Bowser, it was just a bait. Yeah, I mean at this point I wouldn't really expect this game to be fair and honest anyways. Especially this far into the game. Anyway, after passing the fake Bowser, you run into the real Bowser, defeat him, and finally we save the princess and peace has been restored to this kingdom once again. You even have this cute little fanfare with all the toads rotating around Mario and Peach. Welp, that was definitely a rough adventure, but I'm glad it's finally, oh. World 9, there's a World 9? What the heck do you mean, fantasy world? I had to suffer through all of that, and you're telling me I'm not even done yet? Yeah, so here's where things start getting really ridiculous. If you beat World 8 in Lost Levels without using warps, you will unlock World 9. There are 4 more bonus worlds after World 9, Worlds A, B, C, and D. But here's the real kicker. You have to beat the game 8 times in order to unlock World A. Yeah, you heard me right. 8 times. Otherwise, World 9 will just keep looping itself forever. I honestly have no idea what the heck they were thinking with this. It's hard enough beating this game even once, but having to beat the game 8 freaking times to unlock the bonus worlds is absolutely obscene. I mean, there's no way they expected people to actually do this, right? I should note that in the remake of this game in the SNES game Super Mario All-Stars, they removed the requirement of having to beat the game 8 times, and you can just play the bonus worlds after beating the game once. That's really how it should have worked in the original version. Yeah, I'm sorry guys, but I am not going to play through this game 8 freaking times to play through the bonus worlds. I was already getting sick of this game as it is. I will not put myself through the torture of beating this game that many times even for the sake of this review. I do plan on doing a retrospective of the game Super Mario All-Stars, which remakes all of the classic 2D Mario games. When we get to that game, then maybe I'll decide to actually play through the bonus worlds in that version. But for now, I'm done with this game. We saved the princess, so as far as I'm concerned, this game is dead to me. So yeah, you get the idea. That's pretty much Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. It's no wonder that they didn't release this game in Western territories originally. Not even just because of the game's brutal challenge, but this game just looks way too similar visually to the original SMB1. I feel like that would have made it look really bad and lazy to a lot of people. So yeah, in the end, I think they made the right call. I think this game would have made a bad early impression for the series. I guess I should note the fact that you can play as Luigi in this game, and he does actually have a higher jump and slippery physics. So yeah, this was actually the first game in the series that gave Luigi different controls from Mario. I guess that's cool. I should also mention that if you do get a game over in Lost Levels, the game just sends you back to the beginning of the world, not the beginning of the game. That's cool, but yeah, that still doesn't change the fact that this game is absolutely maniacal. Anyway, yeah, at this point I'm getting really tired of looking at this stupid 8-bit Mario sprite. So let's move on to the Western version of Super Mario Bros. 2. So the Western version of Super Mario Bros. 2, which I'm just going to call SMB2 for convenience's sake, is another weird piece of Nintendo history. Because technically speaking, this isn't even really a Mario game. It's pretty much just a port of the Japanese exclusive game Doki Doki Panic. They reskinned the game by replacing the characters from Doki Doki Panic with Mario characters, but they didn't change the gameplay to fit the established Mario universe. I think that's why the story of SMB2 is sort of weird. When Mario opened a door after climbing a long stair in his dream, another world spread before him and he heard a voice call for help to be freed from a spell. After awakening, Mario went to a cave nearby and to his surprise, he saw exactly what he saw in his dream. You know, let me know down in the comment section below if my intense voice is cringe or if it's actually funny. I'm actually curious. Anyway, I guess this game taking place in a dream world is a way for them to get around all the weird things in this game that aren't normally in the Mario universe. And a way for them to sort of mask the fact that this is just a port of another game entirely. Well, I'm not going to spend too much time on the history of this game. Once again, that's kind of the stuff you can just look up yourself or find in other videos. These Mario retrospective videos are more about my opinion on these games than anything else. Now, Super Mario Bros. 2 is a very special game to me personally, as this was the first Mario game I've ever played. Actually, SMB2 is one of the first video games I ever played, period. Specifically, the Super Mario Advance version of this game was the one that I played, which was a remake of SMB2 for the Game Boy Advance. You know, I feel like when you're playing video games growing up, everyone kind of has that set of games that sort of teach them how to play games. For me, SMB2 was that game. It really taught me how to play platformers and the concept of running and jumping and moving left and right with a D-pad. For that reason, this game is always going to have a special place in my heart. I definitely have an actual nostalgic attachment to SMB2, unlike SMB1. Honestly though, I first played this game so long ago that I don't exactly remember what my first impressions of it was. I mean, I was really young. I kinda just enjoyed whatever was put in front of me and whatever had pretty colors. I remember enjoying the game a lot though, and since this was the first Mario game that I played it without the mindset of comparing it to anything else. I had a fun Mario game in front of me at the time, and that's all that mattered. Little did I know that SMB2 was very different from other Mario games in a lot of ways, especially if we compare it to the original SMB1. For starters, you get 4 different playable characters this time around, not just Mario and Luigi, but also Peach and Toad. Wait a minute, Peach is playable in this game? You're telling me that Peach is just as capable as Mario and can go on these adventures herself? Why did we go through all that trouble saving her when she could have just saved herself? Same goes for Toad actually, he was in those castles too. Heck, Peach can even fly, man. Mario and Luigi can't fly. She's better than both of them. Okay, I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. All the 4 playable characters in SMB2 have different abilities. Actually, all the 4 playable characters have their own stats as well. Essentially, Mario is the basic guy. He's got no special abilities but is above average at everything. Consider him an all-rounder. Good for beginners. Luigi jumps the highest, but he can be a little hard to control. Toad has the fastest run speed, but he has the worst jump. And lastly, Peach is slow, but she can glide through the air for a short time. This definitely creates a whole new dynamic with how you play SMB2. After all, the game lets you choose your character before playing each level, so you can frequently switch between them throughout your playthrough. This honestly is really cool, because the multiple playable characters lets you play through SMB2 in many different ways. You can choose to stick with one character or frequently switch characters as you go. You can experiment with different ways to play the game and discover a playstyle that suits you best. When I first played SMB2, I remember picking Luigi first. I thought it didn't make any sense to play Mario since Luigi jumps higher. In fact, I'm pretty sure I only played Luigi throughout my entire first playthrough. I never switched characters even once. It's pretty funny in hindsight considering the fact that I'm more of a Mario guy these days. Maybe I should have made my name Luigi Man 847. I'm sorry, I'm so bad at being funny. Anyway, enough with the filler talk. Let's get into the real meat of the game now. Super Mario Bros. 2 starts off with you falling from the sky onto some hills with Shy Guys on them. You then have to fall down vertically until reaching a door. This is already a huge new thing that SMB1 didn't have. The entirety of SMB1 took place in a horizontal plane. You only ever moved left and right. SMB2 starting off with falling from the sky is immediately showing how different this game is from the start. And the differences do not stop there, no siree. The main gimmick of SMB2 is grabbing enemies and tossing them at other enemies. You can also grab turnips from the ground and throw them at enemies, which is where Peach got her down beat in Smash Bros from, wink wink. This kind of just creates an entirely different gameplay loop from that of SMB1. I honestly find it fun though. After all, there's more to it than just tossing turnips at enemies. There's these potion things you can pick up to go into these secret areas that give you good items. There's POW blocks you can pick up to destroy a bunch of enemies on the screen all at once. There's bombs you can throw to destroy walls. You can stack objects on top of each other to get to higher areas. Basically everything in this game revolves around the concept of picking things up. I think it works really well. It adds a bit more depth to the gameplay since you're doing more than just jumping on enemies. Now you're doing things like dropping bombs to destroy rocks, grabbing keys to open doors. I mean, the boss fights in this game have way more depth than the boss fights in SMB1. Like, take the Birdo fights for instance. You have to position yourself to jump on her eggs as she shoots them out and throw them back at her. Way more depth than just jumping on an axe and making a bridge fall. Wait a minute, if Birdo is shooting her eggs out at you, does that mean she's killing her own babies? Ugh, probably shouldn't dwell on that. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it felt really nice to play this game after suffering through lost levels. I mean, I know this version of SMB2 technically wasn't intended to be the sequel to SMB1, but in many ways it still feels like the natural evolution to SMB1. SMB2 still has plenty of platforming like SMB1 does, but there's a bit more of a puzzly aspect to things now. Everything requires more input from the player, but everything still feels natural and simple at the same time. And I mean, can we talk about the visuals? The sprites look much better this time around. This is the game that really started to solidify the designs of the Mario characters. I mean, just compare this SMB1 Mario sprite to this SMB2 Mario sprite, and that's a world of a difference. I mean, heck, the visuals in general in this game look very good. The grass, the trees, the hills. I mean, look at these waterfall backgrounds. You can tell that Nintendo was getting much better at utilizing the NES's hardware at this point. Well, now that we've established how different SMB2 is compared to SMB1, let's do a general overview of the worlds and levels in this game. The first level of SMB2 is basically a playground for the player to discover everything they can do in the game. Pretty much all of the game's important mechanics are introduced in this level, all culminating in a Birdo fight at the end. The second level introduces the player to some of the more puzzly aspects of the game. You have to grab a key from an underground area and blow up some rocks with bombs. I've always found these masked guys that chase you around really creepy. Like, look at that face. The third level has you climb all the way to the top of this tower, grab a key, and take it all the way down to the bottom of this tower, all while the creepy masked guy chases you. It's a pretty decent challenge. The first major boss of the game is Mouser, a giant mouse guy who's wearing shades for some reason. I actually like this boss fight. It's a good challenge. You have to throw bombs at him and time your throws so the bombs explode when they're near him to do damage. I mean, it's fun. World 2 is a desert world. Oh boy, I guess this game was the start of Nintendo's trend of doing desert worlds as a second world. I will never understand the World 2 desert phenomenon. Man, I've always hated this part in World 2 where you have to pick up the sand from under you to progress. You have to be careful and make sure you're picking up the sand in a way that the Shy Guys won't fall on you as you're descending. I don't know, it's just weird and kind of annoying. They even make you do this multiple times within World 2. Like in 2-3, you have to pick up sand to get all the way to the bottom, grab the key, then climb back up to unlock the key door. I don't know why World 2 is so obsessed with this gimmick. Anyway, our second boss fight is Triclide, a three-headed snake that shoots fireballs. What's weird about this fight is that it's actually easier than the Mouser fight. All you have to do is throw these mushroom block things at him 3 times and he's dead. It doesn't require as much precision as throwing bombs at Mauser. So yeah, World 2 definitely feels like a downgrade from World 1 overall. World 1 was a much better balance of gameplay, while World 2 relied too heavily on a singular gimmick. The weird sand pickup gimmick. Anyway, on to World 3. 3.1 has this section where you have to ride a carpet upwards into the air. That's pretty cool, I guess. 3.2 has Shy Guys riding on birds for some reason. There are also some pretty annoying bomb sections in this level. Oh hey look, it's Sonic. What are you doing here, man? You're in the wrong game. 3.3 is definitely the hardest level so far. It has this really annoying section where you have to carry a key back to a door, but this masked guy is chasing you and you also have to deal with these freaking Shy Guys coming out of these pots. Then you have this really long gauntlet of platforming challenges with all these electric spike balls that are really hard to avoid. Like sheesh, I thought they ported this game over to the West because it was easier than Lost Levels. This game is pretty challenging too. The boss fight of World 3 is Mauser again. Oh boy, that's not good. Reusing boss fights is never a good sign. I mean, this Mauser fight is a bit harder than the first one since you have to hit him 5 times to kill him, but still. Oof. Welp, on to World 4 I guess. Oh no, ice physics, I forgot this game had ice physics. What? I can think of at least 50 million reasons why plucking a rocket out of the ground makes absolutely no sense. Dude, what is this level design? It's just a straight line of ice with enemy spam. Man, it must have been a long time since I've played this game, because I honestly don't remember this level design at all. Like, what the heck is this section where you're jumping off of these creepy looking black whales? Like, look at the way they stare at you. It's horrifying. At the beginning of World 4-3, I was legitimately confused as to what you're even supposed to do, until I realized that you have to ride Birdo's egg to the next section of the level. There's also a part where you have to ride a Shy Guy over some spikes. This level design is honestly super silly. It feels kinda ROM hacky? I don't know, it's just odd. And here we have our 4th boss fight, and his name, Fry Guy. Okay, that's actually really clever. He's a ball of fire and his name is Fry Guy. I gotta give credit to the developers on that one. Anyway, this is the hardest boss so far, but he's still not super challenging. He kinda just flies around and you have to throw mushroom blocks at him. He eventually turns into small Fry Guys and you have to destroy those too. This is probably the best boss fight in the game so far, but still nothing too spectacular. World 5 of SMB2 is fine, I guess. I honestly don't really have much of note to talk about for the levels in this world. I will say that the levels in World 5 do have more raw platforming than some of the previous worlds, so that's nice at least. The boss of World 5 is this crab dude named Claw Grip. He throws rocks at you, you throw rocks at him, bada bing, bada boop, on to World 6. World 6-1 is probably the worst level in the game so far. It's an extreme version of a pick a path level since you have this big room with tons of jars in it. You have to find which jar has the right key, dig your way to the bottom, grab the key, and then we have yet another section where you have to carry a key to a door while this masked guy is chasing you. This game reuses this idea way too much. Like, I think this is legit the 3rd or 4th level where you have to carry a key while being chased by the masked guy. Surely they can come up with more ideas than this, right? World 6-2 is literally not even a level. You just ride these birds for a long time until you get to a Birdo fight and that's it. World 6-3 is another level that doesn't really have much going on. There's this really long section where you're climbing vines in the sky, and then there's just another reused boss battle. This time they reused the snake boss from World 6. Dang, I'm not gonna lie, this is making me a little sad. I remember having such fond memories with Super Mario Bros. 2, but playing this game now for the sake of this retrospective is making me realize how many flaws it actually has. Well, alright, let's play World 7 before we pass judgment. This is the last world. Okay, 7-1 is actually a reasonable level. It feels like a real stage at least. It really feels like what every level in this game should be. It has platforming challenges but also some puzzly elements as well. Like this part where you have to stack these mushroom blocks while also dealing with these electric ball things. This is good stuff right here. Alright, we finally made it to the last level of SMB2, World 7-2. Yeah, for some reason World 7 only has 2 levels instead of the usual 3. But actually, the last level of SMB2 is good. I actually feel like this is exactly what the last level of SMB1 should have been. It's a challenging gauntlet of platforming sections that pretty much puts everything you learned in the game up to the test. It's a hard level, but it feels satisfying when you manage to beat it. All culminating in the final boss of the game, the big bad himself, Wart. Yeah, this is one of the few main series Mario games where Bowser actually isn't the main villain. Wart is actually a legitimately challenging boss fight too. He shoots these bubbles at you which can be hard to avoid, and you have to wait until he opens his mouth to damage him. You also have to hit him like 6 times to actually beat him. Once Wart is defeated, Mario and friends free the subcons and all is well that ends well. But alas, it seems like the events of SMB2 was actually a dream after all, since it shows the ending of the game happening in Mario's dreams. I do find this pretty weird though, because even though it's implied that the events of SMB2 all happened in a dream, there are plenty of enemies in SMB2 that make an appearance in future Mario games, like Bob-ombs, Pokies, Shy Guys, etc. Like, the events of this game must have had some impact on the Mario universe. Oh well, I'm gonna have to save that analysis for the Mario timeline video. So yeah, I actually think that SMB2 USA ends on a pretty strong note, even if the late game, for the most part, was pretty lackluster. Playing through this game again after not having played it for many years, I honestly have very mixed thoughts on it now. Like, it's weird. I feel like SMB2 is very forgettable but also memorable at the same time. It's memorable because of how different it is from pretty much every other Mario game. The aspects of picking up and throwing items and the unique overall aesthetic of this game really makes it stand out. But at the same time, the levels in SMB2 are really repetitive. Like, you're pretty much doing the same things in this game over and over again. Grabbing keys, blowing up bombs with rocks, stacking blocks, riding on top of enemies. That's pretty much all you're doing. After the first few worlds in SMB2, I feel like you've pretty much seen the entire game. I think that's why I don't have a very good memory of the later parts of this game, because after a certain point, the game sort of just reuses the same ideas in more challenging and often frustrating ways. They even reuse a lot of boss fights and stuff. That's what I mean when I say that SMB2 is both memorable and forgettable. It's memorable because of its ideas, but it's also forgettable because of how much it reuses ideas. I hope I'm making sense here. You know, in a strange way, I feel like both versions of Super Mario Bros. 2, both the Japanese version and the USA version, have similar issues. I mean, obviously the games are different in a lot of ways, but both games kind of have a similar problem where I think they both start off pretty good, but they kind of get worse and worse as they go on. Like, both games use up all their good ideas within the first few worlds, then they just reuse a bunch of ideas later in the game in weirder, more frustrating ways. Although I do think that SMB2 USA has a stronger ending overall. So here are my overall thoughts on both Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels and Super Mario Bros. 2, starting with Lost Levels. In the end, there were some parts I enjoyed about Lost Levels. I feel like Lost Levels is always going to be a very interesting part of Mario and Nintendo history. The fact that Nintendo officially released a Mario game this challenging and evil will never not be funny to a certain extent. But I'll be honest, I don't think that Lost Levels is really worth playing today. Like, it's definitely a funny and memey game, but I don't think it's very fun to play. I feel like the main reason to play Lost Levels is if you're going back through Mario history like I am. Or if you're just really into challenging games that like to troll the player. I guess there are some people who are into that sort of thing. As for the Western version of Super Mario Bros. 2, I would definitely say that it's the better game over Lost Levels. It just feels more like a legitimate video game than Lost Levels is. Even if it still has plenty of problems on its own, it's got a lot going for it as well, such as the unique mechanics and the multiple playable characters. Although, I guess the Western Super Mario Bros. 2 kinda cheated by not really being a Mario game in the first place. So yeah, I don't know, I guess it is a little strange to compare these games in the first place. You know, it's pretty weird how there's not really a definitive version of Super Mario Bros. 2. You have one game that's pretty much a challenging ROM hack of SMB1, and then you have another game that's technically not even a Mario game. Both games offer completely different experiences, and both games have their high points and low points. While I may not have fully enjoyed my time with these games, I'm still glad that I decided to come back and take a look at both of them for this retrospective video. At the very least, I think I can say that I don't hate either of these games. I think they both still have enough good and interesting merits about them to at least be considered decent. I just thought I should say that since I don't really want to end this video on a super negative note. Anyway, that's pretty much my retrospective of both versions of Super Mario Bros. 2. Ooh boy, I am exhausted. That was a wild ride. But the journey will continue. Next time in my series of Super Mario retrospectives, I'm going to be taking a look at Super Mario Bros. 3. I am very excited to analyze this game because it's often hailed as not only one of the best Mario games, but one of the best video games of all time, period. So I'm curious to see if it still holds up today. If you watched all the way to the end of this video, I really appreciate it, because this video was not easy to make. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day, everyone.